Boxing truth here. Jessie Vargas is now a player in the welterweight division. Now the WBO strapped around his waist, coming off the good performance against Ali, knockout winning performance under the bright lights on HBO. Now Top Rank has to figure out a plan for him. What's in store for him in his future? Can they set up some lucrative fights? With the WBO strap around his waist, that's definitely a possibility for a future lucrative fight down the road. Now for what's next, most likely he'll make a defense of his title against a top-ranked client. Bob Arum has mentioned Jose Benavidez as a possibility. It'll be a solid first defense for Jessie Vargas. Benavidez, he's campaigned mostly at 140. Biggest win was against Herrera. Most people will debate that win. I felt Benavidez won the fight. He landed the bigger punches. But anyways, it will be Benavidez has been able to make weight, so he's going to be campaigning at welterweight. But if they make that fight, it's a solid fight for Vargas. Vargas will be favored to win the fight because he's had more success in the welterweight division compared to Benavidez. And Benavidez, he's still developing, it seems. Disappointing career thus far. Was considered, him and Frankie Gomez, when they were coming up, were considered the future of boxing. But that term needs to be used with care because you just never know how prospects are going to turn out. Up-and-coming fighters. It's happened so many times before. A lot of disappointments in boxing with prospects. Can name a few. Francisco Bujado was definitely a major case of that. Was really hyped up. Look how his career turned out. Baby Joe Macy. Who else? Ricardo Williams, Rocky Juarez. List goes on and on. But these guys are still undefeated, but their careers have been stalling. Just nothing, for very different reasons. Benavidez, it's just inactivity and injuries, but Vargas, he's got some options for the future, and it was a big win for Top Rank, winning that fight against Golden Boy and Ali. Ali was considered the favorite. It was a Golden Boy promoted show. So Vargas had to dig deep to get out that win because he wasn't the house fighter. HBO was pushing for Ali to win. So, but now that Vargas has won, it's getting even Steven in the welterweight division now. Bob Arum has top fighters like Pacquiao, Bradley, Vargas. Al Heyman has his welterweights like Thurman, Porter, and Garcia. And Eddie Hearn has his piece of the welterweight pie, and that's Kell Brook, who holds the IBF strap. Now, Bob Arum has been reaching out to Al Heyman. Seems like he's extending an olive branch. He's been talking to reporters about wanting to make some fights between their clients. He says he's willing to make these fights tomorrow. The lawsuit doesn't have to be. It shouldn't be a problem. However, Bob Arum, he's a funny guy, man. He's willing to make fights, but it has to be fights where he's very confident his client will win. If you read between the lines in his statements to reporters, he'll say if Al Heyman client wants to fight Terrence Crawford, give me Adrian Broner. If Garcia wants to fight one of my fighters, if they want to fight Jessie Vargas, give me Danny Garcia. Now he's very confident in both of those guys winning both of those fights. Thing about Bob Arum, he'll do co-promotions, but it has to be against. He has to have a lot of confidence in his guys to win, to make those fights. And of course, he has a lot of confidence that Terrence Crawford trashes Adrian Broner. Garcia Vargas, haven't thought about it until Arum mentioned it in an interview. But it's an interesting fight. It's a 50-50 fight. Considering that Vargas has better opposition at welterweight, he's fought better opposition at welterweight because Garcia, he has the better resume overall, but he hasn't stepped up at welterweight yet. He's been fighting mostly faded guys, so he hasn't fought. Vargas has fought the better opposition. It'll be an interesting fight. 50-50. Not really sure who wins that, because Vargas is the taller guy. He lets his hands go. He's got a good jab, good boxing fundamentals, solid amateur background. Competed for the 2008 Mexican Olympic team, so he's got some tools. He's got some solid fundamentals. I mean, he's a little flat-footed, but he makes up for it with solid technique. Good right hand. If he sits down in his punches, it seems like he's sharp. He can punch a little bit. I was very shocked he was able to stop Ali. That was very shocking. He hadn't knocked anybody out in years. Got no stoppage losses at all. But he's been fighting up and down the weight. Fights at 140, then he'll go up to 147 for a fight or two, then move back down. He will change trainers all the time. Weird career for Vargas. But now he's a legit world champion. He stated he's a 2-division champion to Max Kellerman in the post-fight interview. But nah, sorry, Jesse, you're not. You won a regular belt at 140. You pretty much lost to Khabib, but got the decision. But you won a regular belt at 140, but now you've won your first legitimate world title, even though it was a vacant title. But you did beat a worthy opponent for the belt. You were the underdog in the fight slightly. So he gets credit for the win, and it was a great performance, no doubt. But now they'll have to figure out a plan for Jessie Vargas. And Steve Kim brought it up to Bob Arum recently about what about a fight with Juan Manuel Marquez down the line. Arum, I was surprised with his response. He said he didn't even think about it. But that's a good fight for Jessie Vargas. If I'm part of his team, I'd be pushing for that fight, because Marquez, he's right for the picking. At 42 years old, coming off, he's got some knee problems, knee issues. Hasn't fought in 2 years. He's been very inactive. And Marquez, he's definitely be interested in that fight, because he's obsessed with winning a 5th world title in the welterweight division, because he hasn't officially won a world title at welterweight, and it's still his desire to accomplish before he retires. That's why he keeps contemplating about coming back or not. He wants to win a world title, but he needs the right opponent for that world title. He's failed in the past. He failed against Bradley. He knocked out Pacquiao, but Pacquiao didn't get the decision against Bradley in the first fight, so he was technically the real champion, but he wasn't holding the strap at the time. So Marquez is still seeking an opportunity to win a 5th world title in a 5th weight class, which will be a great accomplishment, and he'll be, set to retire. But it'd be an interesting fight if it happens. I would favor Vargas, because he's more active. He's a taller fighter, solid skill set, solid punches, nice jab. He was very effective against Ali. I mean, sign me up for that fight. I'll be interested to watch it. I'll be rooting for Vargas to beat the shit out of Marquez, because I'm definitely not a big fan of Marquez. But yeah, the fight with Danny Garcia will also be interesting, but I wouldn't hold my breath about that fight happening. Al Heyman will most likely look for other opportunities for Danny Garcia. Understandable. Bigger fights out there to be made with his client, Danny. He could, do a unification with the winner of Thurman Porter. That'd be a bigger fight. He could also do, Floyd has expressed interest for Danny as his comeback fight. That's a bigger money fight for Danny. So Danny has other options. So that fight definitely is not going to happen for the time being. And Vargas been sweating the Bradley rematch like crazy. Turns up to the top rank office daily, hounding Bob Arum for the rematch with Bradley. He feels he can defeat Bradley. He felt he was robbed 10 seconds in the fight with Bradley, that perhaps he could have got a stoppage. He feels he wants to, he deserves a rematch. Maybe he does. I mean, to me, it was a close fight, and he finished the fight stronger. But Bradley, if he wins, he'll have options as well. He'll get a bigger money offer to fight Crawford, but he doesn't want to fight Crawford. And he could also chase fights with Miguel Cotto and Canelo if he beats Bradley on April 9. And I mean, if he beats Pacquiao April 9. And Pacquiao, he'll either retire or chase a Mayweather rematch. That's it. He ain't gonna have any interest in fighting Jessie Vargas. So Vargas has an option in Marquez, because Marquez has what he wants, and that's a welterweight strap. But it's gonna be interesting to see what plays out in Jessie Vargas' career. He's a player in the division. He's got an opportunity for a big fight in the near future, and let's see what he got. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.